So, Sam, thank you for joining me. Appreciate you taking the time. How are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. Obviously, 100 grand richer this week, so that's obviously a really good feeling.
Yeah, it is very, very nice to leave the racetrack 100 grand richer instead of 100 grand in the hole.
Yeah,
So, just talk about the race. Obviously, you had really good third place finish, the 100 grand. What were some things you worked on throughout the race and just to get to the end?
yeah, we have really good long run speed at the end of the race, and the first two stages we did struggle a little bit just with overall handling of the race car, but we made really good adjustments on pit road, both at the end of stage one and at the end of stage two, and that made the car really good towards the end of this last stage, and that's when we really started lighting the world on fire, picking up a couple spots in the last 30 laps or so, and getting up to third, which is my best career finish so far. So this is definitely the week to do that.
Yeah, and only the second appearance ever in an Xfinity car at Richmond, a very good run. Just this season overall has been pretty strong. I mean, two consecutive top fives. What do you think has made this season better than, I guess, the end of last season?
Yeah, I mean, this season's just been really good look for us this year, just because we've had that growing pain last year already, and having that under our belts already really kind of got us through the tough part. We kind of learned as a team together, and we came into this year with a lot of confidence, and all the good things that were mixed in the pot together going into this year. And the first couple of races really mixed well with what we wanted, and having that good finish at California and the West Coast kind of kicked that off. And we had a lot of speed every weekend so far this year. We've been top five or so lap times, and obviously having really good finishes the last couple weeks, getting us in the dash for cash, and hopefully keeping that momentum going.
Yeah. And this season, of course, you're with Junior Motorsports, the number one car. But of course, last season you had a whole hodgepodge of different deals, different things going on. Do you think that's been a help just being able to focus on one team, one race each weekend, as opposed to, a bunch of different things going on?
Yeah, I mean, like having the last couple of years be a lot of different series, a lot of different teams, made me a better race car driver, just trying to adapt and learn to different race cars. But it comes to a point where you have to kind of focus on what you're doing, and getting that focus towards the end of last year and now going into this year has really helped me grow quite a bit in the Xfinity car, and kind of keep that knowledge that I learned way back a year and a half ago now. But it's a good mix of the both. But a big thing for us is getting that consistency going, being up front, getting with the fast guys, and getting those finishes.
For sure. And I know one thing that you talked about was minimizing mistakes. What have been some things that you've worked on to kind of get toward that goal?
It's not really too much of just mistakes. It's just scenarios happening and me not knowing what to do. It's kind of like you don't know what you don't know until you know about it and experience it. So it's kind of like not mistakes or whatever, put myself in bad situations. It's the bad situations coming and me not knowing how to handle them. So what I've been working on a lot is just understanding scenarios, and like the people I'm racing is a really big thing too. So being smart and methodical in my movement so I can affect myself in a better way if other people make mistakes, and hopefully I don't get caught up in it. Obviously that's happened one or two times already this year, but it's just part of racing at that point.
For sure. And, we've heard from a lot of different drivers about time in the sim being a big help. But how has that, like, helped you out just with limited practice time, different things like that? How's that helped you out?
Yeah, we do simulator quite a bit. We do it at least once a week for a couple hours, and it helps us mostly get knowledge of the race car before we go to the track because we don't have much practice time. Um, and that's bigger than just me getting used to the racetrack, because you don't really get the raw feeling of the racetrack and the race car in the track until you get there and actually experience it. So having that little bit of practice this year is actually really beneficial in that way. But the simulator is mostly just for me to get the visuals down and for the team to get what they need for information.
For sure, yeah. And also just being back with Dale Earnhardt Jr. Of course, the last part of last year, this year. How's that been? That must be pretty fun.
Yeah, it's a great organization to be with. There's a lot of ups and downs in the organization for me, but so far this year we've been on a really, really amazing upswing, especially the last couple weeks. So having that confidence built up in the organization, kind of building my way up the totem pole, people like getting to know me and working hard for me and all that, and then I go out there and perform and work hard for them. So it's important for a team aspect, obviously in the shop and then at the track too.
Yeah, for sure. And this weekend, of course, you go to Martinsville where you had your best career finish last year. Of course, you didn't have much practice. Now this year, you're going in with some laps under your belt. How do you feel heading into it?
Yeah, I feel pretty good. I mean, we had no practice last year. I ran top six for the first half of the race until we had our problem last year, and then after going 2 or 3 laps down early in the race and then coming back, getting all of our laps back, and then driving through the field once again to get a top five is really unbelievable because the speed that we had was just unreal. And I expect to have that exact same speed because it's a night race again. So team should be pretty good. I just got to go out there and do it.
For sure, yeah. Want to ask you too. You did some Trans Am races last year. Could we see you in a Trans Am car again?
Not anytime soon on the schedule. Obviously, anything can happen because I'm a race car driver. I love driving race cars. So if I have an off weekend here or there, I might take advantage of that.
Yeah, and also being from the Midwest, I'm from Minnesota, so I have to ask you. Who are some Mac Hinson, Alan Kowicki, who are some racing heroes of yours growing up, whether it be local, national? Who were they?
Hard to say because I didn't really focus on actual NASCAR until I kind of got to that step of circle track racing in the South. So I never really watched NASCAR too much because I was always busy doing my own racing on the weekend. So I never had a chance to even watch a cup race to begin with. But someone I did look up to when I first got into watching it and understanding it was Dale, believe it or not. He was kind of one that I always looked up to purely because he was really good with the fans. He was really good inside the race car at super speedways and stuff like that. And he was really knowledgeable about the race cars. So he kind of like most of the package in one just easily, and he had it figured out. And I looked up to him because he was such a humble person and kind of was so good with the fans and everything. So I want to be like that one day to where I can do that and give back. But I got a long way to go to do that. But I have him by my side, and I can call him or text him anytime I have a question. So it's definitely beneficial to have that.
And really cool too to have that in your back pocket.
Yeah.
So just looking ahead to the rest of the season, I guess what are some tracks you're looking forward to, and I guess maybe some tracks you're kind of dreading, might need some more preparation for.
Yeah, man, I'm looking forward to just about every track this year so far, just based off of what I'm looking at the schedule. But there's a couple where I'm like, I don't know what to expect here. Like a Homestead, I'm excited for, but at the same time, I'm nervous because I have no idea what I'm doing at that track because I've never been there. So, but I went through that pretty much all last year, so I'm used to it. But there's so many tracks that I'm excited for, especially in the next 3 or 4 weeks that I'm just pumped up about that. That's all I focus on.
And as far as guys to race out there, who are some of your favorite guys to race?
Yeah, me and my teammates are really, really aggressive racers and race really hard. But at the end of the day, we're a team and we all help each other. So I'd say my teammates are definitely higher on that list.
Sure. Well, Sam, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I appreciate this. Thank you very much for the opportunity.